Well, we're finally getting back after it. Finally getting back into the field. The cornfield, that is, with our draper header. Y'all might be asking, well, why are you in the cornfield? Don't you have soybeans to cut? I thought you was done with corn. Well, it was done with corn with everything except for the corn maze, which is what we got left. And frankly, it's the only thing dry enough that we can cut right now. We can't cut soybeans. We have been out of the field for another full, solid week. Just because of rain. You know, we had good rain election day afternoon, and then that night, and then every day with the exception of Friday was cloudy and drizzly. Didn't get a ton amount of rain, but all it did was just get wetter. It sure didn't dry out. And today was first full day of sun we've had since last Tuesday. And I mean, our beans still need some more time to dry out. I'm hoping we'll be able to get back on them tomorrow. They're still not going to really be dry enough, but we're quickly running out of time this year. And we got another storm system coming in Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday night, potentially another inch of rain or so. So conditions ain't ideal. I'd rather not be in the field today, but we just really ain't got no choice. We got to get something done on getting this harvest complete. And well, getting the corn maze out, it's checking one more box off the list, one less thing we got to do. It ain't much. I mean, it's only 7.5, 8 acres, but that's 7.5, 8 acres we ain't got to do anymore. And if you've been watching this for a while, this ain't the first year we've used our draper header to cut the corn maze. We've done it every year for the last couple of years, and main reason is our corn header, it's already cleaned up, oiled, and put away in the shed. We're not getting it dirty again. And the second reason is this year in particular, I don't know if my corn header would hardly pick any ears out here whatsoever, because normally we're not dealing with a good yield on the corn maze because it's planted late in June, you know, maybe 100 bushels an acre. This year we might even make 20-25 bushels an acre because we had to replant it all. I think we got it replanted after we got our wheat beans planted in late June, and then I mean we had drought this year, and at one point this summer I didn't even think we'd have a corn maze. I didn't think the corn would even grow enough to make a corn maze, but we caught a couple of rains, but there ain't gonna be a whole lot of grain out here. But the draper header will bring everything into the combine, and what few kernels there's out here, we'll be able to put them in the grain tank, whereas a traditional corn header, a lot of these ears will probably just get pulled down through the snapping rolls and would be lost anyway. The good thing about corn, with all that rain, with all these ears turned down, you know, it sheds a lot of water. The seeds don't pick up a whole lot of water, and you know, it's not dry. I mean, it's showing 19% moisture, but we'll put it in the bin, blend it with a dry corn, and it'll be all right. It's definitely drier than what the soybeans will be right now. Main thing was we waited as late in the day as we possibly could to try and let these stalks dry out as much, because pulling in all that stalk, it's putting a load on the combine, and the wetter they are, the harder it is on the combine. But we can't afford to wait no longer. The sun be setting here in probably about 45 minutes, so we got to get it done. You can see some of the corn maze trail right there. Now overall, we had a really good year on the zombie trail, the corn maze, and Camp Blood. We had greater turnout than what we've had in past years. Of course, the weather was absolutely phenomenal all of October. We didn't get rained out except for the very opening night, which wouldn't have been a big attendance night anyway, but we weren't rained out. had a really great year on it this year. Our last night running was what, 8-9 days ago. I think it's what, November 2nd or something. That was our last day running, and then the owners of the zombie trail, everything, they got out here, got everything cleaned up and put away where we could get it here and get the combine cut. And normally this is the last thing I do every year, but this year just happens to be the case. This is the only thing I can do today. And frankly, I don't know how much longer this corn is going to be standing anyway. That last night of the corn maze, the corn did not look this poor. Still had the tops in it and everything, and then a week of rain, you can see what happened. It's looking ugly. They're doing a pretty good job. I tell you what, those corn stalks is still tough. There's definitely still some moisture left in them. In case you was wondering what it looked like in the daylight, there you go. Of course, this is just the loading of the zombie trail. You know, the whole zombie trail goes all the way through the woods, around the woods and back through, and got different scenes where the zombies are at and where the paintball trailers run. Woo! 81 bushels an acre, 85. That's a high so far. That'd be mighty fine if we was cutting beans instead of corn. It's nice to see that gold going in the grain buggy again. It looks a lot better than that yellow soybeans, but we're actually getting a little bit more than what I thought. The same field average, 63 bushels an acre. That's around half of what it normally makes, so I'm for once this year I'm pleasantly surprised on the yield. Kind of sad when you get excited over a 63 bushel per acre corn yield though. Alright, we just got done with the front part. We're going back to the cornfield that zombies hide in, and trailers drive around. Here's the last scene right here. We don't have any zombies in here, but this is where everybody empties their guns out, and it's still glowing even after a couple inches of rain. There's still a bunch of paint left out there. Like I say, this is the back side of the trail that the trailers come down. Now, I've been doing YouTube, what, 4 or 5 years now, and I don't think I've ever really given a proper tour of the zombie trail, and not gonna happen this time either. Just giving you a little glimpse of what it looks like. Oh man, I bet that'd make for a good picture right here coming out of the trail with that setting sun. Ooh, I can't see where I'm going hardly. I don't know how much of it you can see, but here's the cemetery. We had a drunk driver there, got killed, and then we got a bunch of gravestones and stuff right there. No, with the sun you can't really see it, but that's what it looks like. Something serious. And then right here we come out into the cornfield. Looks like they haven't gotten everything up. I still see some mannequins and chairs and stuff out here. Guess I'll have to cut around them. It looks like I might get the chance to behead a few mannequins out here.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but it'd be fun to watch.
They left them out there.
Yeah, that in the cage.
Great.
I guess Andy has taken it upon himself to be mannequin mover there. Now while Andy gets that mannequin, look at this spot right here. This is where one of the zombies hides out. Those paintballs literally shredded the corn stalks. There ain't nothing left but a stem right there. Tell you what, I was a zombie for one night a few years ago. Let me tell you, paintballs may be kind of soft and burst, but they hurt and they can do some serious damage. Well, let me rephrase that. They can hurt if they find a gap in the armor there. If they hit the armor, it's no problem, but if they catch some bare skin, they don't feel too good. Alright, that's got the corn maze knocked out. Hopefully tomorrow we'll be back into some beans. This cornfield's a lot worse than the corn maze. 54 bushels per acre. Still, that's more than I thought I was going to get off of it. I'll take it. picking up right where we left off a week ago, back in the same bean field. And truth be told, we shouldn't even be out here. It's still slightly muddy. These beans are as wet as probably any I've ever cut. I mean, you can just take them and you can just squish them. Our cover crop, half the height as our beans are. We just don't have any choice. I mean, conditions are not going to get any better. It is close to the middle of November. We just got through with a week of solid rain. Got more rain predicted to come in tomorrow and tomorrow night too. Don't know how long it'll hang around. And I think more rain predicted for this weekend. We flat run out of time. You know, when we got done picking cotton, we were ahead of the game. We already had half our wheat planted. You know, we already had half our wheat planted right there around November 1st. You know, we quickly got the rest of our wheat planted, and all we lacked was, you know, 530 acres of soybeans. And we got basically 1 day in cutting beans, and it's been rained out. You know, at this point last year, we were just getting done planting wheat, and we're getting ready to get back on beans. Of course, we already had probably, I don't know, 30-40% of our double crop soybeans cut at this point last year, whereas, you know, we're not that far along this year. And you know, I wouldn't feel bad, but you know, we got that rain coming in tomorrow, and then, you know, take at least a couple days to dry up after that. More rain potentially this weekend, early next week. I mean, the window for getting these beans out is pretty much gone, and we're losing quality. I looked at some beans just a little while ago, and they're not nice and pearly white like they were before this last week of rain. So the pods are starting to pop. What few beans we got out here is going to be popping out on the ground. You know, we cannot afford any quality losses. We can't afford any more yield losses. It's been a tough enough year as it is, and the longer this crop sits out here, the tougher it's going to be. Not to mention the ground speed is going to be a little bit lower because you know, this cover crop that we had aerial seeded in here, I mean, it's getting after it. It's been warm, plenty of moisture. I mean, it's growing. And pulling in, you know, and slicing off some of that green material and pulling it through the combine takes more power. We can't go as fast. Potentially more problems with pushing up piles. All right, my moisture's reading 20% beans. That's what we're cutting. And if we was hauling these to the granary, well, I mean, we wouldn't be cutting. I mean, otherwise we'd be giving them away. The dock would be so huge. But we're going to put them in the blunt grain bin. We're going to blow some air on them. I don't know if we'll be able to dry them down to 13.5%, but I mean, we should be able to dry them down, hopefully to a manageable level. You know, blend them with drier beans in the bin. That's what I'm hoping. Not what I want to do, but again, we're at the point we just ain't got no more choice. Right now, it's a point between deciding between a bad decision and a worse decision. Man, this year cannot get over with soon enough. It's just been one kick in the nuts after the other all year long. Anyway, we're going to try and wrap up this farm pretty quick. We've only got 7-8 acres on this farm. Get moved over to the next one, then I'm probably going to have to turn the combine over to either Kelly or Andy for a little while this afternoon. I got to go meet with an oral surgeon again. Got a problem with another tooth, and well, these beans need to be cut, so one of them is going to get the pleasure of cutting these beans. I just got back from the oral surgeon's office. Looks like I get to have my tooth pulled at 7 o'clock Thursday morning. Luckily, it looks like we'll be rained out, so I won't be forced to operate heavy equipment under the influence of painkillers. So, but in the meantime, Andy did a heck of a job running the combine. Looks like he got about 10 acres done on this farm, and everything's still running smoothly. Nothing broke down. Well, it looks like these beans have dropped in moisture from about 20% to about 16.5%. in the last several hours, and looks like we got maybe about another 45 minutes to an hour's worth of drying time that we'll get today before the sun gets low and these things dew starts falling, these things start getting damp again. Goes to show this time of year, when you get weather patterns like this, I mean, you just got to get the beans out whenever you can. If they'll thresh, you need to get them out, because it's not really very probable that conditions are going to improve. You know, if we only had, you know, a few acres left, you know, a day's worth, you know, I probably wouldn't be cutting today. We'd wait for better conditions, because we'd probably get that. But when you got 400 acres left, or 400 plus acres left, you're a little too far away from being done to be picky about the conditions that you run in. So the pods are popping easy, they're threshing easy. Unfortunately, the day's just gotten so short, you know, by the time the dew dries off in the morning, you know, there's just not very many hours left in the day for the beans themselves to actually dry up and get down to that, you know, 13% moisture. You know, you just got to run. You don't have much choice. Anyway, I don't know how much of this 48 acre farm we'll be able to get done today, but I can tell you what, I'm going to run as long as I possibly can, get as many of these out, because I do believe we're going to be out tomorrow, Thursday, and depending on how long the clouds and the dreariness hold around, you know, maybe even longer than that. There's another Seam Zombie Trail paintball, just like yesterday. She's still glowing from all the paintballs that got shot. A lot of that paint that you see is the fluorescent paint that we paint on there, you know, that shows under the black lights as we're carrying them around on the trailers. But a lot of that is the paint from the I wish they give me a total of how many hundreds of thousands of paintballs got shot this year. It was a bunch. Heck, it might even be in the millions. There's another one right there. That one's called the Junkyard. I know it don't look like much in the daylight, but I promise you, it looks a little bit more impressive at night, and the only thing you got is black lights out there. I know y'all can't see it through the trees, but we're looking at the back side of the Ferguson farm, one of the last farms that I planted wheat, and I can see some green striping there in the sunshine. That means our last planted wheat has come up. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little worried about it, even though I took as many measures as I could to ensure it would come up successfully, you know, by planting it shallow, planting a high rate. With all that rain we got after planting, you know, I ain't gonna lie, I was still a little gun shy, but that was just one little part of it. I mean, you know, we might not have a good stand over all of it, but there on the back side, I was pretty pleased with what I saw. So we might wind up and have us a really good wheat crop next year. At least, you know, here at this point in time, we've set it up to be a really good wheat crop. Got it planted earlier than I have in quite a few years, and I'm really excited about it. Still got a long ways to go, but it's always better to start off strong than you know, start off behind the gun. Well, I definitely don't think we're gonna get done with this farm today. It's last 30 minutes. This side draper over here stopped, and it somehow got a bunch of dirt hung up around that end roller there, locked it up, so had to get all that cleaned out. These draper headers are wonderful, but they do have issues just like that when you're cutting in wet, muddy conditions. So I guess hit something just right, you can get mud up in there and cost you some downtime. But that sun's done gone down below the tree lines. I'd be surprised if we're able to cut much longer, but we're gonna go as long as we can. Well, I'll have to eat my words from my last clip. Not only did we get that farm done that we were on, we're going to get this 10-acre farm right next to it done also. I have absolutely no idea how we're still running. I mean, it is wet out there. I can just hear the way it's running through the combine. We quit spitting dust out probably 2 hours ago, but I mean, it's still feeding in there. But I can definitely tell it's gotten real wet. So as soon as we get this farm done, I imagine we're gonna call it a day. I mean, technically we probably could keep on going for a little while longer, but it required taking off the header, going down the road, changing farms, and considering it's supposed to rain tomorrow, we're right here by the shop. We'll just take the combine onto the shop, stick it under a shed so it don't get rained on. So it's definitely been a lot better day than what I thought. I mean, this will be about around 65 acres that we got done. 65 acres we ain't got to do anymore. Definitely brings us down below 400 left to go. So if we can get a stretch of about 4 straight days in the field, we ought to be able to get this crop wrapped up. Bean yield's still terrible. I mean, right here in this spot, don't look like it, but they're about 25 to 30 bushel beans. And just like my cotton crop, these are the worst yielding, good looking beans I've ever had. Anyway, we're gonna get this last little bit wrapped up, and we'll see what tomorrow brings. Boy, she's wet again. Well, what do you do on days where it's just pouring down rain? You fix all the broke stuff, and today we working on the semi truck there. More specifically, working on the exhaust on the semi truck. We developed a pretty good exhaust leak there, where the clamp just wore into the pipe, and I'm getting a pretty good exhaust leak. So went and bought a new section 5-inch pipe. We got our exhaust all loose up under there where it goes to the turbocharger. So it's just a matter of just trying to get everything lined back up and clamp back down. But yep, that's what we're doing today, because we're definitely going to be out of the field for a while longer. Unfortunately, I got the feeling that all of this probably came apart easier than it's going to get lined back up and go back together. It's mighty tight up under this cab here. It's been a little over 24 hours since it stopped raining. Everything's saturated out here. We've got some rehydrated soybeans, but I don't care. We gotta get them out of the field. About 370 acres to go, and 4 days before the next storm system comes in. Let's get it. All right, we're back over here on the cell phone tower farm, getting the beans that were too green when we were over here earlier. And I wanted to show you something. I want to show you the precision ditching that they did on this farm. You can see it down through here. And I mean, we're just you know, a day after getting a you know, over an inch rain. And well, it looks like that ditching did a pretty dang good job. Now this area over here, that would have to be a super deep ditch to get it to drain. So what I'm gonna do next spring is where they did the ditching, come in here with a dirt pan on the sides to kind of you know, shave it and grade the ditch, and then I'm going to take that dirt and haul it back over here. And I don't know if that's a remnants of a pond or something, but I'm going to fill that in. But they got the ditch cut down enough to where that's not holding near as much water. And then these wet areas right over there, it doesn't look like you know, maybe holding a couple of puddles and whatever. But anyway, it looks a whole lot better than what it did. There's another little low spot right there that I'll have to do a little bit of filling in, but overall I'm really pleased with the job. Looks a whole lot better than what it did, and hopefully now it won't be, you know, a swampy marsh you know, 11 months out of the year like it was this year. But it's not a completed it's definitely not a completed project, but we're off to a pretty good start. Well, the new Mastercraft MXT tires, I ain't quite cutting it there on the service truck. Come on forward. Let's see this old 2500 can yank her out.
Yeah, I will.
All right.